So I'm currently in my SuiteFiles site, and I'm going to open up a file template that I have here. This file template is set up specifically for populating with client information from the Xero Practice Manager. These merge fields are what allow me to get information from the Xero Practice Manager. So we've got a normal kind of content of this file, and then we have these merge fields. Now, if we were editing this file, let's say we're creating a new file to use as a template, you're not going to just kind of know off the top of your head what these merge fields are supposed to be. So one of the ways that you can see a list of that information is through our Help Center. So if we go into our Help Center can be accessed with the URL suitehelp.suitefiles.com. And if we go down to the Xero integration section and we go into Xero Practice Manager, there's an article here called Xero Practice Manager Fields for Templates. You can also just do a search in the Help Center for this if you want to find it quicker. And basically, if we open up that article, whoops, wrong one. If we open up that Fields for Templates article, we'll see a whole list here of all of the merge fields that we can use. So when we're creating our file, what we can actually do is we can either open up that tab on another screen and just type it in, just literally copy it by typing it in, or we could just copy and paste any of the information in here into our file. And you want to keep the formatting consistent, so if it changes format, it's always a good idea to actually just make sure it's consistent. But basically, once you have these merge fields, when you actually use that template for creating a file, it will be able to populate those merge fields with information from the Xero Practice Manager. So I'm going to save this file. And we've already actually saved this file as a template. So now I'm going to show you what it looks like when you populate that template with a client. So I'm in a client folder here, and I'm just going to quickly delete that. So I'm going to create a new file using that template that I was just editing. So it's this one here. When you want to populate a document with a client, if the client doesn't auto populate or auto fill in this choose a client field here, you'll need to type in the name of your client, and then you'll need to select the client from this drop down. If the click doesn't work, which it might not, if you have the same clients like this, I think, then if you just type in part of the client name and hit the enter key on your keyboard, that will automatically fill in the client for you. Once you've filled in the client here and you create that new document, it will use that client, and it will use that client's information from the Xero Practice Manager app to populate this document. Now that doesn't actually seem to be working like normal. Sorry about that, that's quite unusual. Let me just quickly try and get out of that. So I don't actually think that created. Okay, yeah, my apologies for that. It doesn't seem to be working. This here is just an example of how it's supposed to populate. So this was the same template and the same client, and all of these, all of the information here was previously merge fields, which then filled in with the appropriate information for the client. Now, if we just go into, if we go into the Manage Templates section, under the More tab, Manage Templates, this is something that only SuiteFiles admins or users who can manage templates can go into. We can see a list of our file templates. And what we can actually do is we can open up the particular file template that we're interested in here. And what we can actually do is we can edit this template. But it's basically the same as editing a file and then saving it as a template. You just kind of have to open up new tabs with the list of merge fields to use, that kind of thing. But what we can actually do is we can go to the top right of the screen, and just under our username, there's this little kind of tile icon here. If we click on that, this will open up a view of all of our merge fields that we can use. And if we just go down to where it says client information, this will show you the merge fields that are specific for a client. And what we can actually do is we can click on this drop-down list here, and we can actually select one of our clients from our Xero integration. So I can choose our 99 Corporation client from our Xero Practice Manager. And this will show me some of the merge fields that I can use. And what it will also show me is what information would actually fill in for that merge field for that particular client. So I can see that for the 99 Corporation client in XPM, the client business name merge field is going to fill in with the information 99 Corporation. So this is a really, really good thing to reference. It's really, really useful. It also means that you won't be doing things like copying in merge fields here that aren't actually going to populate with information for the client. So you can actually see what information will be there for that client for those merge fields. So this is really, really useful. I really recommend making good use of this. It's a lot easier to use this and kind of simulate what the clients are doing than using this tab or the Help Center for reference. But of course, you can still use the Help Center for reference if you just want to know those merge fields. So that is the file templates side of things. If anyone has any questions about any of that, please feel free to let me know. All right, we'll sorry, we do have a question. So are we able to create custom fields? You can't create custom fields, sorry. What we get here is literally just what the Xero Practice Manager gives us and what it allows us to retrieve. So there isn't too much room for customization. You can. Oh, my apologies. I have been corrected. If you create custom fields in XPM, they will actually pull through into here and you can use them and insert them into your file templates. So yes, you can. All right, so we'll go through the email templates as well. They're very similar to the file templates. In fact, all there really is just the fact that they can populate with clients just like file templates. So I'm just going to open up a new email. I'm going to choose a email template that I have. I'm just not going to pre-populate it so you can see the merge fields that have been used. So you can see that these merge fields are here, here, and this client ID one, which I already know isn't going to populate. And we've got a merge field in an attached file template. We've got a merge field in our subject line. So I'm going to do the same thing, choose the same email template, but this time I'm going to choose a client by clicking on the drop-down list where it says choose a client. I'm going to select a client, click pre-populate. And as you can see, that's populated those merge fields in the email. And as I predicted, the client ID field didn't fill in. That's either because the merge field has been entered incorrectly, or it's because that particular field doesn't actually have any information for the client I selected. So that's how populating email templates with zero information works. In terms of the formatting and using merge fields, it's exactly the same as file templates. If anyone has any questions about the email templates with clients from Xero, please let me know. Otherwise, we will go into the Xero Practice Manager app and we'll have a look at one of our apps that actually allows a lot more functionality through the Xero Practice Manager, which is our Chrome extension. We'll go through how to install that before we actually get into the functionality that it provides. All right, so some of the stuff that we can do through the Xero Practice Manager actually requires our Chrome extension being installed. So if you don't have the Chrome extension installed already, to install it, all you'll need to do is, while you're in your SuiteFiles site, go to the top right, click on your username, go down and click Download SuiteFiles, then click the Download button under Chrome extension. That will take you to the Chrome Web Store. And all you need to do is click the Add to Chrome button and then click Add Extension. Once you've done this, you should see a SuiteFiles icon appear in the top right of your browser. And what you will then need to do is log into the Chrome extension. So to log in, you'll need to click on the SuiteFiles icon. You'll then need to enter in your SuiteFiles URL. If you're not sure what your SuiteFiles URL is, probably the easiest way is to go into your SuiteFiles site and just copy and paste the URL. For most people, it should just be up to the .com part. Otherwise, if you have /sites/sf like this, you want to copy up to where it says SF. So we'll log in again, and actually if you click out of this login window, your login details that you've filled in will disappear. So it's easiest to leave that open while you're entering them in. Your username is your Office 365 email address. And your password is your Office 365 password. Click the login button, and that should log you into your site. If you're taken immediately back to the login window, then there's quite likely something wrong with your credentials. If you're using two-factor authentication in Office 365, you'll need to create an app password through the Office portal and use that in place of the password field. So now that we're logged in, we can see it will tell us that we're logged in. It will tell us our email address we're currently logged in as, and it will show us the site that we're logged into. So what we can now do is we can go into our clients in the Xero Practice Manager. We can create a new client. And when we create a new client in the Xero Practice Manager now, because we have that Chrome extension installed and logged in, what it will do is it will bring this pop-up on screen. And what that's just basically doing is it's detected that you've created a new client in the Xero Practice Manager, and it knows that you don't currently have a client folder for that particular client in SuiteFiles. So it's just asking you if you want the app to automatically create the client folder for you in SuiteFiles. If you use folder templates, you can click on the drop-down list here and select a folder template to use for that client folder to be created in SuiteFiles. If we click the create button, it's going to go ahead and create that client folder for us in our SuiteFiles site. And if we go into our SuiteFiles site now and just go through into the clients, we can see that that new client folder has been created using the folder template that we selected. One of the other things that we can do is we can do things like creating new jobs and new quotes. Creating a new job or a new quote will give you that same prompt. So if we go to Suite Quote, so once you create a new quote or a new job for that client, you should get a pop-up. And this pop-up will just ask you if you want a subfolder created for that quote under the clients folder in SuiteFiles. And again, you can use a folder template if you'd like to. Otherwise, you can just leave that as no folder template and click the create button, and it's going to create a new quote folder for you in SuiteFiles. So if we go back into that folder, I'm just going to reload that folder. We've now got a quotes folder here. And we've now got a subfolder here for that particular quote that I created in the Zero Practice Manager. If we go back to our client in the Zero Practice Manager, if we were to rename the client in the Zero Practice Manager, so we call this Samsung Boats. Then when we rename a client in XPM, that's going to be detected. We'll get a pop-up asking us if we want to also have our client folder in SuiteFiles renamed to that new name that was provided. So we can just click yes. And if we go back into our SuiteFiles site, we should no longer see the Samsung plane folder here. As you can see, it's been renamed to Samsung Boats instead. If we archive a folder, if we archive a client in XPM, we'll also get the same kind of prompt as for renaming. It's going to pick that up and just ask us if we would like the folder to also be archived in SuiteFiles. Now, if you archive it in SuiteFiles, just remember that will hide it from view in SuiteFiles. So you'd no longer see it being displayed as a folder here. You'd have to go into your user settings, file preferences, and then you'd have to change your settings for showing archived content to yes to be able to see that folder. So those are the prompts that you get. The other thing you can do is if we go into a client, which we know in our SuiteFiles site, we know that this client folder has content in it. I'm going to go into the Zero Practice Manager and select the same client. One of the things that the integration allows us to do is view the contents of this client's folder that's in SuiteFiles. So if we go into the Documents tab, we can see that at the top here it says where the documents are actually being stored for this client. It's telling us that it's being stored in the 99 Corporation folder in SuiteFiles. We can also click this link if we need to change which folder in SuiteFiles this client is matched to. So for example, if the 99 Corporation client in XPM wasn't called 99 Corporation in SuiteFiles and we needed to map it to another folder name, we could click on that folder and click Save, and that would then tell it that that client in XPM is actually a different named folder in SuiteFiles. As we can see, because it's matched up, it's actually showing us this content here. So it's showing us these subfolders, and it's also showing us these files. These are all being pulled through from SuiteFiles. We can drop into subfolders and see the contents of those as well. You can only download files out of here, so it's not really, there's not really any value in using it for editing files. But if you want to access files, view them or download them, you can do that through here. You can also choose files to upload from this interface. So you can choose files from your computer, and it will actually upload them into this folder in your SuiteFiles site. So that's the Documents tab. Some of the other things that we have here is we can do things like print reports. So if I go into a report, if I go into, let's go into a random report here. If we go to print a report, we have the option here to export that report as a PDF into our SuiteFiles site. We can see it has the SuiteFiles icon in that button as well. It should do anyway. Yeah, sorry about that. It doesn't appear to be working in my browser. If it doesn't work, as it actually really relies on things on this page being the same. So if anything changes on the page in Xero, the button is not likely to work. If that does happen, you can also just export it to a PDF, open up the PDF in the browser, click the print button, and then you can actually change your printer to be Suite Print, and it will have the SuiteFiles logo here as well. So we can choose Suite Print as a printer, and then when we actually print that current PDF using Suite Print, we actually get this location chooser where we can go through our SuiteFiles site and select the folder that we'd like to save to. We can also use the filter here if we would like to filter for a particular folder. Select that folder, and I want to save this report in the 2018 folder. Click on that, and then I'm just going to type in the file name text field here, and I'm going to provide a name for this new file. Once you've entered in a file name, click the Save File button, and that will export that PDF into the location you just chose in your SuiteFiles site. Oops. The other thing we can do is we can export work papers. So if we go into Xero work papers, apologies for this. What we can actually do is we can open up a work paper pack, and we can actually click on the export work papers drop down button, and then we have two options. We can export this work paper pack as a PDF or as a zip file. If we export it as a PDF, it will export all of these work papers in here as one big PDF file. If we export them as a zip file, it will export them as a zip file which contains a PDF for each work paper. So you can select either option. I'm going to select the PDF option. Let me just try it again. My apologies. Might just need to do something really quickly. Okay, that's awesome. I might have some issues in my browser because it doesn't seem like these buttons are working for me. Just try it again on the side. Again, if that doesn't work, we do have another way of doing it, where we can just export it as one PDF and select SuiteFiles as a printer to save it to. So I can just open up the PDF. And print it into SuiteFiles. And that will give you that exact same location choosing window where you just go through and select the folder that you'd like to save that PDF to. And again, you do also need to provide a name for this file. When you're saving files from Xero into SuiteFiles, it will also come up with a little notification down here when things save. And if we go into our SuiteFiles site, we should see here at the top that our work paper pack has saved here. And if I open that up, that's got that PDF that I just exported from Xero Workpapers. I really want to get the zip file button to work, as it's quite, it's really useful to see how that actually saves. So I'm just quickly trying that. Yeah, okay. Basically, if we choose that option, it's going to save it in the exact same way as it does as PDF, but instead of seeing a PDF here, it would see a zip file, which would then contain multiple PDFs. So that's how the exporting of work papers works. All right, that brings our training session to an end. If anyone has any questions, please let me know. If anyone would like to see those exporting reports and work papers features working, feel free to stick around for a little bit longer. I'm just going to go through and restart my browser and see if I can get that to work, because quite likely it's something to do with my browser. So I'm going to hopefully have that working to show you in a few minutes. Otherwise, feel free to put any questions that you have through the tool, or if there's anything you'd like me to go back over and cover in further detail or anything like that, feel free to put that through the tool and let me know. But I'll just quickly restart my browser now. I can definitely send you a recording. Yeah, no worries. Okay, let me just quickly see now if those reports will actually export, and if the work papers will as well. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so something gone wrong in my browser. Apologies for that. So what I was trying to show you when exporting reports is you can click on the Export PDF to SuiteFiles button and it will bring up this location chooser. So this location chooser is pretty much the same as the one when you use SuiteFiles as a printer. However, you won't need to enter in the name for the file. So you can just select the folder you'd like to save to and click select folder, and that will export that PDF into SuiteFiles. We can see we've got the notification down there letting us know that that file has been uploaded. If we go into work papers, we'll find that this will now actually export. If I go into export work papers, I'm going to export it as a zip to SuiteFiles. We get our location chooser. We can go through our folders and select a client folder, and we can click the select folder button, and it's going to export that work paper pack as a zip file into my SuiteFiles site. And we get a notification again saying that that has been uploaded successfully. And we'll just have a quick look at how that zip file actually shows up in SuiteFiles. So this is the zip file here, and what we'll probably actually need to do is maybe not download it. Yeah, so if we want to open up these files from a zip file, when we click on them, it will download them to open them. But we can see that it saved each work paper here as a separate document. Whereas when we save the work paper as a PDF, it just saved everything in one big PDF file. All right, and that brings the training session to an end.